The B-roll.
They got some cool photos too.
Got the industry speak.
So I guess a question, right?
So, question is, you talked about creating long-term memories.
Yeah.
What exactly, like, how would a small business, create a long-term memory in the potential consumer?
Yeah. Okay. So I guess it would depend on the industry. If we're talking about healthcare, right? I can say that when it comes to maybe the problems that they might have with regulations, how can you substantially bring a person in and then get that person to come back without saying, hey, we want you to get hurt again, or we want you to feel bad. It's about when they're there and you solve their problem, it's about how you communicate with them after the fact, along that process. And data will actually help you do that. For example, a person comes into a store, or a person comes into healthcare and they might say they're sick. You fix them, right? They're okay. When they go back, they might get maybe an SMS text message or an email. How did you feel? All of that is all data, right? How is it that you feel? And then follow back up a week later. Now, these things could be chatbots that you can create right now, where you're talking about chatbots can be done for less than $100. You can build a chatbot, or you can create someone, or you can have someone to build a chatbot. And that chatbot, what it can do is it can follow and keep engaging your customers without you even being there. You can set up what it can say. You can set up the way that it can talk back. Chatbots do a lot of that small level stuff, like what would help in healthcare, just saying, we need some better engagement. We want to get people understanding that talking to someone other than me is actually a good thing. And we've all done that already. Alexa, Siri, we've all done it. So I would say creating that engagement and continuing it by a simple, how do you feel, will go a long way. And they might not choose another particular health practice.
And then one of the other questions for Das earlier was, what are the tools that you would advise a small business, let's say ranging from a restaurant to a daycare to a direct primary care, or a game selling shop? What could they use to better find the data and then bring that data in, make sense of it, and then put it into practice to
good question.
Hook in more customers?
So what I would say to that is, data is basically a pool, right? Your company's a pool. Data is one of those things. And the particular tips that you can put inside of that depends on you and the questions you ask. So if I am a restaurant company, do you have the money to put up certain things that when people come in, it rings, like the Wi-Fi thing we were talking about within restaurants? But I'm not going to talk about restaurants. I'll talk more so about the novel city companies. Say the gaming company, right? How do we make them come back? Social network, geolocation. When a person is close to that particular store, are they texting? Are they in that geolocation? Do they get an ad? Or does the gamification tell them, hey, your friends are playing, won't you play too? Small things like that go a long way, especially when you're on an app. And I would say use APIs willingly, being able to log into Facebook, be able to log into Instagram, being able to utilize Google as being able to draw contacts is another thing you can also do. Geolocation, enable location, set up a new location as well. You can hit those buttons. That's simple. It's Google. It's mainly all that stuff is free or very, very low level that you can do as a startup. And it starts off by implementing it first. Once you start to grab the data, you can then start classifying it and tagging it. That's what we call, I can get into unsupervised learning, supervised learning. That goes down more of the machine learning AI realm. After you gather that data, you can then start classifying it in different areas, and then it can create its own loops. So yeah, use Google. One big thing I said was the geolocation. I think is very, very, especially in this area, when it comes to the media company that says, well, we're a local-based content creator that wants to be big, right? That's good. That's really good. That's cool. But when you want to be local-based, people might not know who you are, and you might be local, right? You might be calling yourself local, but you might not know who you are. It's good to get that location data. It's almost like gold. I was in AR before, so I dealt with computer vision. I dealt with geolocation. I understand. I had to almost become an architect when it came down to different spaces, because we'd have to come in and actually outfit and light up the entire space so that when you walk in here, we know who you are and you walk around. So I would just say simple tips to answer the question. Excel, of course, ask the right questions if you want to do it economically, low on a budget when you're a startup, but identify your industry first, whether you're a media company that wants to be big or you're small, or if you're a healthcare company. And then when you do that and you ask the right questions, you gather that data, low budget, Google Doc, Excel spreadsheet, right? And once you can identify those particular problems, then the solutions will just come. And as you're gaining more engagement, you're getting more people, that it creates a loop.
Great. And the last question is,
yep.
Both you and Das have referred to APIs.
Yeah.
I'm afraid a lot of our fellows won't know
completely
the term
understand
or understand
application processing interface.
That's, what exactly that means for them.
Yeah. So I would say this: APIs are very. We even 55B Cody. We do an API for startups as well. So basically, all an application processing interface is being able to use one other particular service to better yours. So Facebook, Instagram was using Facebook's API in the beginning. They kept on calling, doing API calls. That's a pretty good reason why Instagram got bought by Facebook, because they use Facebook's platform. When you jump onto someone else's platform and you utilize the data that they have, it boosts yours. So I talked about this a little bit, basically saying the entrepreneur hat and then the API hat, right? Almost, because I'm the founder of a company that utilizes APIs. They're not much, 2 cents, 30 cents sometimes per API call. So think about it this way. You have Facebook. You log on to Facebook. I'm privy to my entire friends list. I have X company that wants to use your friends list, use some of your data, your likes, your comments. An API allows access. It's considered like a node. It allows access for that to happen and transpire. So, for instance, the gaming application, I forgot their name. I want to understand. I get on the gaming app. I'm going, or I'm about to log in, and I say, "Oh, Facebook." What it does is, I talked about this when it comes down to neuromarketing as well. I see something that's familiar. Facebook. I can log in with Facebook. I'm in America. Of course, I want to use Facebook. That's an API. I hit Facebook. I get now a better experience when it comes to the application. So when these people are building these things and they take in effect, okay, Facebook, they take in Instagram, Spotify, all of these companies, they want one congruent way of working so they can capture all of the data. Like us, right? Our API calls deals with emotion and deals with syntax on sentiment, people texting, right? We get to a point where we can understand and actually be able to gauge different heat maps from people just off of words. We can't charge $5, $6, $7, $8 for that. It has to be a low API call that anybody can use. So hopefully I answered the question that API calls are similar to a node, like in your brain, right? It's the connectors, right? The system that makes the product better. That's all an API call is.